Okay, a very good morning once again to all our dear listeners and viewers. You're welcome to our weekly ACFIM Talks. Again, my name, your host is Felix Kafuma, and today in the studio, I'll be having two distinguished guests. Already one has joined us, but I'm also expecting another one to join us shortly after. Allow me to introduce them because we have just 1 hour to talk about a very important subject that has been trending in the media, but is of national importance to us. The issue to do with the speakership, the race. What is it behind the scenes that we don't see? And we need to understand why now, more than ever before, are we having a very heated race for the speakership position. We will be discussing that, and in the studio with me, I'll be having Priska Wanyenya, who is a journalist, works for both print and online publications. She's a member of the Uganda Parliamentary Press Association. This is an association that brings together journalists that cover parliamentary proceedings. She has a bachelor's in mass communication from Makerere University, having majored in public relations and also minored in economics. She's currently covering the business sector. She covers court and parliamentary proceedings, and she is passionate about transparency and accountability and respect of human rights, including rule of law. So it's good to have you, Priska. You are most welcome, and a good morning to you.
Oh, good morning. Good morning, Felix. I'm happy to be hosted here for the first time.
Okay, as we wait for Mr. Sebamala Richard, Honorable and MP-elect for Bukoto Central. I think he has his name. When you click on his name, the first thing that comes to your mind will be the person who was able to oust one of the big heavyweights, the Vice President Edward Sekandi. He's also not just a heavyweight in that area, but he's also has been able to express interest in running for the speakership position. So it will be very good to have him when he joins us to discuss, first of all, what has motivated him to join a race which by many seem to only consider to be a race between two people. That is the current speaker and the current vice. But as he joins, allow me to quickly touch a couple of things that have happened this week. First of all, you are all welcome back from the Easter break. It was one of those Easter breaks that I think I could say came with mixed feelings, as we lost one of our iconic cleric, the Archbishop Cyprian Lwanga, who was the one who was heading the Kampala Archdiocese, passed on the eve. I think it was on the eve of Easter, succumbed to heart attack induced by a blood clot and was laid to rest yesterday. So it's quite, Uganda has lost someone that is quite important, and that's quite tragic. And I think it's good that I mentioned that. But also what has also occupied the entire week alongside the demise of the fallen man of God has been the proposed tax amendments that the Ministry of Finance tabled before Parliament, and some of the controversies around those tax amendments. There's an amendment proposal on rental property. I think also an amendment on an annual tax on vehicles, which has also raised a lot of uproar, and also something to do with the levy on internet. So, but other than that, we are on the lighter side. One of the pop artists, Akon, has promised to build a city in Uganda. I want to see how that works out. But that aside, let's delve deep into really what brought us here today. I can see Honorable MP-elect Sebamala. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
That's much better. I introduced you in absence, but you are most welcome. And I think I'm going to start with you now that you've settled in. And my first question is, Yeah, and I know you can hear me. My first question is, one is that you surprised many by defeating someone who had been in that position for the since 96. I think it's since 96. Since 94. Okay, when we also count the CA as well. So you uprooted what I might call in true sense a mahogany of the area. And that's not something simple, and I can say congratulations on the show.
Thank you.
But again, you've surprised others when in a race that is deemed to be between two people, mainly Honorable Jacob Walanya, the current deputy for the speakership race, and the speaker, Honorable Kadaga, by also joining the race. I'm trying to understand. The person you ousted was also a speaker. Is this something to do with the people of Chenamkaka always eyeing the speakership position? What motivated you?
Thank you for inviting me for the show. And I'm really grateful. It's an honor to always, give my insights to the public and everything. But this generation has something that it has not felt. We are people that don't know that it is our time. We are deprived of our time, and we keep thinking it is okay. We keep thinking it is still the times of our fathers and grandfathers. Hosting the vice president was not about me, and it has never been about me. Hosting the vice president was about the people. It is about service delivery. All we had to tell the people was, look, let's draw baselines. Where were we when the vice president came? When we to set him to parliament? Where were we? Where are we now? What has he done? How is the position of vice president, adding value to our society? It is not about having names. It is about those mothers that go for delivery and die in the theater. It is about those people that are seeking for education but get low standard grades. It's not about us. It's not about the vice president. For heaven's sake, they can take the title. They can take the convoy and everything. It is not what we need. What we are looking for is service delivery. Good roads. We are looking at good roads. We are looking at education standards that add value to our society. We are looking at unemployment. We are looking at agriculture being 100% the employer of the constituents, but we are having issues. We are looking at very many opportunities that we have under tourism in the constituency that are not being utilized. We are looking at talent development. We are looking at very many things that these particular people are not looking at. So, hosting the vice president was not about me. No. It has not been about whether I'm the strongest or anything. It was about telling the people what is supposed to be done. It was about telling the people, no, my people, this is time. We need service delivery, not convoys, not names, not anything. For anything, the vice president can retain that seat because, it is appointed. It is not, it is not elected. It is appointed. He can as well remain the vice president. But we needed a member of parliament that can perform with the people. And why did we want to go to parliament? We wanted to go to parliament because parliament has 4 functions. 1 is legislation. 2 is appropriation. Legislation is policies and laws. Appropriation is where is actually before you appropriate, you actually agree to the taxes that the Minister of Finance has proposed, like you said a while before. You understand? What happens is the Minister of Finance will come, tell you this is where we are going to get our taxes. You pass all the nitty-gritties of how the taxes are going to be collected. These taxes are collected. After being collected, these taxes are spent, and we pass the budget. By passing the budget, we are appropriating we are appropriating money. This is for medical, this is for health, this is for wealth creation, this is for this is for gender, this is for this. Parliament does all of that. This is what we are going to borrow. This is for tear gas. Everything. It is parliament. Then after that, we go for the oversight function. We are the ones that go to follow whether the money we appropriated actually worked. You understand?
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
look, people are neglecting the other three functions of parliament and then concentrating on one of policy making. And policy making, the other particular mateka. We are bound to make the laws. Ours is about laws. No. We are bound. Actually, whenever we say government here to Yambe, this thing will let government help us. It is supposed to be parliament to help us. It is supposed to be parliament to, So that is when I wake up.
Yeah. So your victory is a victory for the people of Bukoto. But now let's first come to the main area of discussion here. You have presented yourself as a candidate in the contest of the speakership race, and I'm a bit intrigued. Personally, I want to know what's now motivating you to aim for the highest office. I think it's the third highest office in the land.
Yeah, actually, the third highest office in the land has particular credentials that it needs. One, you're supposed to be an MP, an elected MP. That is all.
Yes.
Then that same third office is not run by it's not about experience. So even say Kolanya was, before Lanya entered parliament, he was in Wakseka selling spare parts. You understand? Through the Kahindo Tafides and something, he stood and then somehow he became a member of parliament. Yes, he was in parliament for 10 years before he became deputy speaker. But then what do we say? Parliament is run by the rules of procedure. These rules of procedure are agreed upon on arrival in parliament. Those are the first sessions that we have. We enter parliament, swear in, elect speaker and everything, but we agree on which rules of procedure we are going to use, what to add and what to subtract. So there is nothing new in that parliament that this person does. With this era of technology, remember behind the speaker, you have the appointments committee, where you almost appoint everyone. You have the parliamentary commission.
Okay.
Article 87A, where you appoint, promote, do everything. You appoint staff. You have an army of staff behind you that before you enter the plenary, all the information you need. Now you're seated at the speaker, you are seated in your chair, and you have an iPad where everyone is communicating with you, sending messages. You know what? You are not balanced. You know what? This is going on. Before you enter the plenary, you have already been briefed about each and everything. So there is no rocket science in being a speaker of parliament. It is not there. You understand? But these people have made this position so big. They have made them so big for us not to.
So I'm going to come to my good friend Priska. But before I come to Priska, on that note, among I think you are now so far. I think you're now 4. There's another lady who has joined the race from Rakai. I heard she expressed her interest.
She's Chinyamatama.
Chinyamatama.
Yes, exactly. So, what makes you different about these other 3 contestants? If you become the speaker, what would...
One, of course, look at the age group. Chinyamatama coming in maybe might be the young one now. You understand? But it is our era. That is one. I'm just being a bridge between the old version and the new version. And that's that bridge that can, I can understand my fathers, but I am also agreeing with my fellow youth. That is one. 2, we'll look at my area of expertise. Magufuli here was a chemist. I'm a civil engineer. All we need are, let's say things that we are going to do. You understand? Let's not just go to parliament to be an accomplice let's not be accomplices to the people that are taking this country astray. We are supposed to be in parliament in order to put the country right. In order, when the executive comes up with proposals, we are supposed to help them, We are supposed to say, no, let's do this. I think this is not true. Let's help here. That is what we are supposed to do. We are not supposed to be accomplices to the executive. You understand? We are just supposed to agree on what moves this country forward. We are the people. Parliament, we are the people. We are the representatives of the 45 million. But when you go When you go to parliament, people are using their heads. People are discussing off head. There is no participation. Actually, you don't feel them speaking for their constituents. You find somebody that was voted by Noop all over parliament, feeling like should they go back, and then they ask them whether that is what they voted them for. So I think three, I'm not partisan. I'm telling people, look here, I'm a new guy, a fresh mind. It is not about parties. We have 529 voters. All of us have 529 voters. We are going to be named as the 11th parliament that actually said the term limit the term period should come from, duration should come from 5 years to 7 years. It won't be NRM. It will be the 11th parliament. So what we are talking about is somebody that can unify all these, can unify all these brackets and say, you know what, look here, people, we are new, but we are equal. Whether you've been in parliament 20 years, 10 years, 11 years, we are equal. Let us all come and discuss as parliament. So there are very many factors that I'm better than of course, I have two masters. Okay. I have there are very many other things I have. But that's now not the point.
Okay.
Because by the time these people even came, they didn't have that level of education. But we are saying they have the experience. We are saying let us come with fresh minds and cause change in parliament, rebrand the parliament.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. This is now where I cross over to Priska. But I need to encourage all our viewers to quickly subscribe on our YouTube channel, ACFIM Uganda, and also our Twitter handle, ACFIM UG, including our Facebook page, ACFIM, so that you can join the conversation. Priska, I know you've been following the proceedings concerning the speakership race, and you are very familiar. I think this time round, unlike before, we are seeing a very competitive race. First of all, it is including even for the position of the deputy speaker. And we are seeing early and public politicking for the same race. What has changed? Why do we have a lot of heat surrounding the race for speakership come the 11th parliament? What has changed?
Okay, Felix, I want to start by reacting to your communication about what is happening in the news. So mostly on the issue of the taxes, mostly the license fee. We have given more importance to the 200,000 that is going to be paid annually, but yet the biggest story is in the fine, because the government is proposing a fine, a daily fine of a daily fine of 10 currency points, and each currency point is 20,000, is equivalent to 20,000. So that means, for instance, if you don't pay that annual license fee within a month, you have accumulated a fine of 6 million.
Yes.
So and you know that 6 million is worth a car in some bonds. So people need to pay more attention to it. And we spoke to the chairperson of the finance committee, Henry Musasi, yesterday, and he said they are going to pass all the 7 taxes up, other than the one for the license fee. So probably Ugandans have a sigh of relief, but they can change their mind. What I know is yesterday we had rumors that the president had sent someone to monitor the proceedings in the meeting. We saw some strange lady that we didn't know, but it's unconfirmed reports, to monitor the proceedings to make sure that all the bills pass and they raise the 400 billion in taxes that they are looking for. So back to the topic of the speakership race.
Thank you.
I think we as human beings, we love controversy. And when in journalism school, they don't give you a definite definition of what news is. They give you a whole set of what makes up news, and conflict is one of them. So at the back of many of the Ugandan mind is they know that there was a decision made by the SEC in 2016 that for Kadaga to pave way for Olanya. So it's like Ugandans are up there waiting to see what the NRM is going to do. Are they backtracking on their earlier amendment? And there is this promise of Kadaga steering the House, leading to the amendment of the presidential age limit and everything. So it's like Ugandans are waiting for what is going to transpire. They love controversy as human beings. I think that is why they have taken interest in this race compared to the last session in 2016. Generally, I think that is what I would say about why the too much politicking around the subject this time around.
But on that same point, it's not just Ugandans' love for controversy, but we are also seeing a very competitive race. I know in 2016, it was again between Olanya and Kadaga until the SEC resolved and made those promises that are now being brought to the fore as a reminder to dictate what comes out of the current process. But again, we are seeing over time that the speakership race is becoming more competitive. I'm even hearing allegations of money exchanging hands, early politicking, people are busy canvassing for votes. I've also had, I don't know, you may have to help me and clarify on these allegations that some candidates are buying suits for MPs, promises are being made. Why are we having a position that is attracting beyond controversy, but it's attracting more competition more than ever before? What is it that we don't see as the public?
You see, the speakership office and the deputy speakership have a huge package of items that come with it, emoluments, and I think that is what has attracted the more competition on it, basically for the candidates who are coming up, because the items, the package that comes with this office is one that can be compared to next to the central bank governor, the chief justice. They almost have the similar package. So like when you look at look at what the items, some of the key highlights, upon retirement, these people have a 60% monthly allowance. Then when you're during your time in office, you have a donation budget, and like the current speaker, the office of the current speaker has maintained a budget of 3.7, while the deputy has 2.5 billion shillings, and you see that the budget has been maintained from both years, and you realize that in 2020 there were no travel trips so much because of the pandemic, but the same budget is going to be maintained, and they have travel trips abroad, and each time they travel, they get a per diem of about 4.5, and per day, that is it. So they have the speaker has a private secretary, has a private secretary, and has a press secretary as well, has ADs, has drivers, 6 guards. There's the speaker also gets the money for the cars, like for the MPs, because she or he is a member of parliament, so they're entitled to that money. But as on top of that, they also have the limousine and the Benz. They have a Subaru, it's like part of their convoy. And so when you look at this whole package, that is why it should not surprise you that people are getting interested in this speakership race. It is tight. You heard recently when the speaker said she's not interested in the office of the VP. Yes. Everyone who wants it can take it, because the VP office doesn't have power. That is, if you're someone who is a social media person, nowadays you see people putting the photo of the current VP, and down there they write something like the Sebamala go-getter. I only talk when I just don't talk. And we've known the current VP as one who keeps within his lane. So I think it's the precedent that has been set by the current VP that puts off the VP position as something that is not attractive. we have not we don't know what the deputy speaker thinks about the VP position because he has not aired his views about the proposal, but we all know why it's a do and die matter is power of the struggle for power between the two people. Yes.
Okay, at least thank you. Let me come to Honorable now. Priska's tried to kind of like break down the package for the office of the speaker, and let's assume probably you're the next speaker because you're in the race as well, and I can't discount you from potential speaker for the 11th parliament. These allegations that are going around and this whole competition, especially between the current speaker and the vice. What is your take? Do you share the same views with what Priska is saying? What's your take, especially on these allegations? Should the public read deep into them that indeed campaigns are now going to the next level, in fact, involving buying for MPs, even suits, promising them trips, and all those sorts of inducements so that they can be able to vote specific candidates?
By and large, allow me to first also throw some light on the taxes before I continue with it. Sincerely, yes. We cannot keep milking a cow without feeding it. I think this is the time when Uganda should be thinking about investment. When you look at all these developed countries, they are no longer, the first thing they did was to invest in other lands. China is investing here. UK is investing here. They're investing in mines. They're investing in very many things. What do we have to invest? You understand? I think let us look at a point where we can invest. When these other presidents were creating hotels and then buying off very many things, owning the transport sector under UTC, doing what? It is because they knew these are owning the telecoms. It is because they knew these are the sectors that, come in with a lot of profit. So they knew they are not going to milk Ugandans like nothing. Okay, we came up with a privatization bill. But where is this money going? So for how long are you going to milk? If there was mismanagement, who was mismanaging? It is government that was mismanaging. So now that we have systems that can check themselves, we have technology in presence, we have very many things. Why don't we take back some of these things? I mean, we can't manage a hotel. Uganda had hotels. We had Uganda hotels. We had UTC. We had what?
We even had properties abroad.
We even had properties abroad. We had, I don't know how. Why? They are going to milk the cow and milk until they milk blood. This is when they are going to know that these things cannot work. And Parliament keeps looking on. It keeps looking on. I will go to the question of the speaker. This time, actually for us that are coming in, it's not about the convoys. It is about the fact that the Parliament has gone astray with its power. It is very true that people are being promised trips, people are being promised, committees, people are being promised to be, you're going to be appointed minister, and I'm the one that is going to be on the appointments committee, because the speaker is the one that is on the appointments committee, the chairperson of the appointments committee. I'm going to be in the parliamentary commission, and somehow we shall give you job. We shall give your children jobs. This is what is happening. Before you even look at suits. For me, I don't need a convoy. For heaven's sake, I move in my Lexus. It is enough. It is enough. I can move left, right, and center, drive wherever I want. You understand? I started the race when I was driving a car of 600 million. So why need it? Very many people are like that. Kate Shumba and who? You've had very many parliamentarians are coming in. They have their money. Yes. So this time it is not about the convoys and everything. No. I also say something about the VP position. The VP position also has money for donations. It has money for donations, a lot of money. It also controls the Korean, nationals, over China and what. There is a lot of money in VP's office. It has a budget of over 40 billion, my dear. You understand?
That is,
but what
40 billion, that is much more than even the budget of the speakership and the deputy.
Yes, he's a VP. He's a VP. Priska should go and give us the budget of the VP. The VP's office has a lot of money, and it controls very many other offices, Koreans, Chinese, scholarships and everything. But this is about power.
Okay.
It is about power. We are saying, who has the power to plan for this country? The executive. Let me tell you, this country has three arms. It has the executive, it has the parliament,
legislature.
It has the legislature. And all these three have the same power. Just because that Ugandans do not know and do not see. Without money, the president can't do anything. Parliament can even decide to censure the president. Parliament is a very strong institution. Actually, Parliament is in a democratic setting. Parliament has more power than even the executive, because we are the representatives of the people, and we are working under participatory government. Democracy is participation. So we have the people. The president can have his, but we have the people. So we are even stronger than the executive. But in Uganda here, like Priska said a while ago, that the president sends somebody to sit in parliament. The executive influences the work of parliament. That is what they call indirect dictatorship. What happens is this person will, whenever it comes to electing a speaker, they will first and foremost go and do gerrymandering and make sure they create very many constituencies, such that even if opposition came up with bigger numbers, they have more numbers. Then they take them to Chankwazi like they went yesterday on 7th, the other day on 7th. You understand? Take them to Chankwazi, brainwash them, bring them back, thinking everything is supposed to be done by the book. How many of them came back in the last parliament? How many of the people that were in the last parliament managed to come back in this parliament?
Almost 3/4 didn't return.
Yes, 35% is what returned. Now, after that, after taking those decisions from Chankwazi and others from Magere and others from Balintuma and others, we will forget that you actually sent by the people. What we are saying, let this position go back to the common man, the person that uses the border, the person that uses the taxi, the person that walks in these muddy roads, the person that buys maize on the road as they are going back home without food. You check your pocket, you only have a lukumi. Then you say, okay, with this 1,000, let me buy kasolia, go home and take a cup of black tea. Okay. Let this position go back to the people. This is about power. Parliament has the power of the purse, and it also has the power to monitor the purse.
Okay, this is about power. Okay,
it is about
that
power.
Is a submission. Okay, I want us to go for a short break. But when we return, I'm going to pick it up from there on how do we then sanitize this position of the speaker so that it is a position that is responding to the needs of a common person. You're talking about the border person, the salon person, and also what Ugandans should expect of the 11th Parliament. Let's break for about a minute, then we'll resume with the discussion.
Thank you.
The monster of money politics is eating up Uganda's democracy. When you take money from a candidate, it means you are feeding the monster. Then you become a part of the problem. When a candidate who overspends on campaigns is elected, he or she will not represent voters but himself. He or she will engage in corruption to recover campaign money. Social services will not be delivered and the voter will suffer more. Voter, let's be wise. Give democracy a chance. Do not sell your vote. Focus on the issue.
Welcome back to our second segment of ACFIM Talks, where we're discussing behind the scenes of the speakership race. And with me in the studios, I have the Honorable MP-elect, Honorable Richard Sebamala, who is the MP-elect for Bukoto Central Constituency. But I also have with me Priska Wanyea, who is the journalist belonging to the Uganda Parliamentary Press Association. She covers virtually much that goes on behind the scenes in Parliament. And we are discussing the speakership race. And before we broke off, there was an issue that was being discussed that I think I need to bring to an end to help our viewers out there. We now understand the package, the emoluments, and the motivations for why we are having a very heated race. But I also need to point out this, that I've also observed that as the speakership race gains traction, there are factors like gender playing out, factors like ethnicity playing out. Recently, I was hearing women saying, let's support our fellow women, Kataga, for the position, because she's a woman and there are very few women in positions of authority, and she's probably the most highly placed woman occupying the third highest office. So they are relating the race, or they're identifying with the race from the perspective of gender. Then my good friend here, Sebamala, is also saying, okay, well, there's also a factor to do with issues to do with the youth, the demographic, that I'm the best candidate who can bridge the gap between the youth and our people outside the youth category and our fathers. Then there are issues to do with ethnicity. I've seen caucuses here and there, all alleging, paying their allegiance to the various candidates on considering the issue of ethnicity. That, okay, for us, people from this region, we are supporting candidate A, B, C, D. So and also religion is trying to play out in the choice of the speaker. What does this imply to Uganda's politics? Because I thought a speaker is a national public figure. Why then do we subject this position to all these other dimensions? What do we lose and what do we gain when the debate is now skewed towards those issues to do with gender, ethnicity, region, religion, and so on? And I'm going to throw this question first to Priska, then I'll come to Richard.
Thank you, Felix. One thing we must agree is that Uganda's politics is already polarized. So when the issue of religion, gender, age come up, it just shows the symptoms that are underlying the politics of Uganda. And when you see, when Richard was talking, he was like, now that Chinyamatama has come in the race, that is when the issue of youth, initially he positioned himself as the only youth, but here comes a lady and a youth. So when we are taught literature, we are taught to read the tones. It's what I read from the tone is now that he sounded like now he's threatened. He has to go back to the drawing board, and
of course, all the time you have to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, he has to go back to the drawing board and change because he thought he's the bridge. Now there is another bridge coming up. So, but all this that is coming up, you've had things. We can't have Owini Dolo from the north and Olanya also from the north. Convoy is taking the same route. And the women activists are also divided in their own way. Some are saying, yes, we should bring our own Kadaga. They have brought a poster of all the positions, the top positions, about the top 10. And you can see the whole list is really ugly because Kadaga is the only woman there. So they are saying we should maintain her there. While the same feminists, another group of feminists saying, yes, she has been there, but she has not been in position to groom other people. Kadaga wants all the powers of the women to be centered around her, all the women to look up to her. That's why she has not groomed. So it is, even if we bring the feminist angle, the feminists are not agreeing themselves. Even if you bring the youth, generally the whole debate on around gender, and shows how deeply polarized Uganda's politics is. We cannot simply agree on one.
And we're losing the bigger picture in the process.
What I'm saying in the bigger picture, I cannot conclude that, because last week the Rules Committee had brought their report on the rules that they are hoping that would take usher in the 11th Parliament, and one of the things they are seeking to ban campaigns for the speakership. But because their argument is that the office of the speakership and the deputy speakership, they come with a sort of dignity and they think that you campaigning in public would put you in a hot position whereby your dignity will be compromised. But as journalists, when we have a press room where we discuss, so we were wondering why the 10th Parliament is making rules for the 11th Parliament. Why they are doing that? Yes,
we shall change them.
that is another topic. So that is what we like. Why are you making rules for the other Parliament? And when they brought the thing of the dignity, I remember in 2016 when Olanya was tussling it out with the central Muhammad Saleko. The person who campaigned for him is called Panado. That is his petty name, Panado, but he's Paul Mugema from Iganga municipality. Yes. And he made a shrewd comment about, Olanya at that time was going through a divorce with a wife, and he was like, Panado made a comment putting doubt onto the DNA of Olanya's kids, asking whether he said, we even don't know whether the person we are going to vote, the kids he has belong to him. And he was not called to order. So we are wondering why the amendment on banning public debate is being brought now. We thought it should have been brought that time
much earlier
when Panado made that comment. We should have been put to order, not dragging the kids. The kids were really young infants. So, and the other controversy around it's a whole set of rules, but the speakership is the banning speakership. There are two proposals on the speakership race, on the speakership office. There is the banning of campaigns, and the other one is providing for the resignation of the speaker. Currently, the rules of parliament don't provide for. They only when you read Rule 107, it only provides for the censure. They provide the whole modality of how the speaker can be censured. So then but now they are saying Richard can get tired of the office and chooses to resign, because now currently the only way if Kadaga or Olanya had to resign as speaker, probably they have to resign as an MP. So if they cease being MPs of their respective constituencies, then they cease being speakers. But Richard can resign as a speaker, but he wants to still represent his people, Bukoto Central. So now so the rules are going to clarify on that. What I know is the speaker and the other controversy about these rules, especially the one for banning public campaigns, it was a directive by the speaker to the rules committee. And how that directive came, it was after the MPs. You remember that debate when Nankabira and the Kadaga tussling it out, Kadaga saying SEC does not vote speakership. That is how this directive came about. So, and Semuju, who is also in the race, trying to say how the Baganda so so they're saying Semuju was going to the rules and saying, you are a party to these proceedings. You're also interested in the speakership race. So why don't you recuse yourself from this decision of directing the rules committee? Because I mean, for for you to eliminate the bias, but of course the speaker outruled him. Even when the report was brought, he tried to challenge this particular, but he also failed because he was alone that time. And you need about 3/3 of parliament for you to yeah. So so the decision right now is it's pending approval. It's just a recommendation. The speaker gave the MPs time to read through the report of the committee and make their proposals through the clerk pending debate. So we don't know, they have now between this month and May to pass these rules. So maybe Richard will be lucky that they will not get the time to pass the rules. Maybe they will be lucky, but these rules can be passed within even a week.
Yeah. It seems to be those amendments seems to be fast tracked. I think Richard may not be that lucky as you propose. But Richard, let me come to you quickly. What's your take on the position of the speaker being debated along those lines?
Obviously, it is not right. It is not right. What the current speaker is doing is not right. However, like I told you, people are using their offices in order to, to find a way. You can't blame her that much, We can talk about ethnicity. We can talk about gender. We can talk about age group. We can talk about everything. Provided a position is elective, there has to be campaigns. You want people to just come, you keep quiet, and then should they vote you by your looks? They are supposed to vote you by your ideas. Provided there is an elective position, there has to be campaigns. Let her bring it up. We shall take her to court. That's why we have the legislature on the other side.
The judiciary.
The judiciary, on the other side. Because you cannot, provided a position is elective, for free and fair elections, there has to be expression of interest. And how do you express your interest? How do how do you campaign? How do people now? How will the person in Karamoja, Frank, the new MP elect, know Sebamala from Bukoto Central, if I don't approach him and do some campaigns? You understand? So whatever that can't happen. Although I'll tell you one thing, that formally, if you've listened to me somewhere, I've always told these people that we just need one humble servant. One humble servant that can listen to all regions, to everyone, without politicizing this thing in such a way that it is for the Eastern wing. Now for us in Eastern, this is what we have. Ladies, this is what we have. I'm telling you, ladies would even have better, would have better laws and policies passed for them under the speakership of a man. Two, about what Paul Mugema said, campaigns have a lot of mudsliding. They have a lot. I have a case that was filed on 29th March, 31st March, actually. The registrar signed it on 31st March. An election petition. How? Then the election petitions were ending on 19th. People use their positions to do whatever they can to make sure that, they somehow maneuver. You understand? So,
yes.
So whether it is ethnicity or colors or gender or anything, at the end of it all, we are supposed to come in as winners. That is what, and under politics or under elective politics, you're supposed to use every necessary tactic to make sure that you win. Because there's nothing like a second runners up in politics. It is about the first runners up. It is about, It's about the winner. Two, you talked about there's an issue that came up. There's an issue I've kind of forgotten, the one she talked about last. But
the rules of procedure,
but
that are being amended.
Yeah, the rules of procedure that are being amended. Obviously, you cannot amend rules of procedure for the 11th Parliament. If she is Speaker, she will maintain them. If she's not, we shall pray that we shall change them. Even if she remains Speaker, we shall bring it up. We shall bring a motion to, watch what she did. If she refuses, we shall go to court. So we have to put this country in order. We have to put this country in order. And the only way we can put this country in order is by standing on their positions and showing them that they are doing wrong. Let me tell you, my brother, this is the first time we are getting information about the speakership position. This is when people are getting interested in their emoluments. This is when they are getting interested in gender. This is when they are getting interested in where they... This is the first time because Sebamala Richard stood. Because they say, this young man. That is when they said, why? So everyone went back and started looking at what is necessary. What? Yeah? Oh, but I mean, this man can handle. I think this is right. I didn't know about this. Am I lying? No, you're a journalist. You can tell me. Am I lying? Even the border people are interested in the speakership. They say, do you know what? We have our own in the corner. Sebamala is there. Because this is the first time. This is the first time people are getting interested in this position. Because I stood and now started opening their eyes. You know what? These people should not lie to us. Are you a government at young? It is these people that we are supposed to put to pin that are not doing their work. So there are
all right.
That the only way we can push these people to the edge is that. Yes,
Richard, to you before I come to Priska. Yeah, before I come to Priska, there's this whole thing to do with you partly touched it, the extension of the executive arm, stroke NRM's sake, that surrounds the way they manipulate the process of choosing the speaker. Remember, they have the numbers. So when it comes to numbers, it's difficult to deny the fact that the position of the speaker will go to the ruling party by virtue of the numbers. And I think right now, the young crop is in, and I'm speaking this not because I'm not seeing what you can do, but I'm speaking this from the experiences. I think ever since we've had parliament under the multi-party democracy dispensation, we've seen the position of the speaker go to NRM as a party through a process that is properly orchestrated, right from Chankwanzi, right from SEC, and I think that's why this time around you have two NRM, right? Whatever you call it, right from Entebbe. So when you have
with brown envelopes,
including someone to come and sit in and ensure that the process runs as anticipated. So my question is that now, when you have such a process that already you know is kind of like there are people who are managing the process behind the scenes, what does that speak to the situation of the parliament, 11th parliament, that Ugandans seem to have hope in? Because looks like the term of the 10th parliament is gone, and well, some will argue they have performed, others will argue they have disappointed us. They have that controversy over them concerning the removal of age limit. People now have hope. Every new term of parliament, people come with hopes. With that in mind, what should Ugandans look out for in the 11th parliament, if already the process of choosing the speaker is already being masterminded by the executive?
First and foremost, let's go back to the people. Let's represent the people. The 11th parliament is going to be about accountability. It is going to be about oversight. It is going to be about real budgeting, real appropriation. These things of how you come up and give you come up in the I was reading the finance act, Public Finance Management Act, and they gave the president up to, is it 10 to 15% to spend without parliamentary approval, provided it is in his budget. So you just come up with a budget, provided it is in the president's docket, and the president wants to speak, he does not have to talk to parliament, provided it is in the budget. He just has to go to Bank of Uganda and drive off sums of money to Entebbe, up to 10% of the budget. You understand? This parliament is about accountability. It is about action. You're going to see us boxing people in that parliament for doing stupid things. Because we shall go to the plenary, they will speak whatever they want to speak, we shall keep quiet.
But you don't have the numbers.
Wait for them out. wait for them outside Parliament and just thump them, because this is not a parliamentary affair. We shall find them out of Parliament. We shall create our own Parliament in National Theatre, if it needs to be. Let me tell you, my brother, we are not going to be part of a scam. They are going to go to Chankwazi. How many of them have been making decisions in Chankwazi are back in Parliament? I'm telling you, if these people also get decisions from Chankwazi, only 10% will come back. This time 35% came back. 10% will come back. And at the start of Parliament, we are going to make sure that we tell these people, this is the group that came from Chankwazi and they disowned the country. They will not even go to churches. We are tired of this thing of taking the country astray when we are under. I hear people come, this indirect dictatorship. We are tired, and for us, we have come to add value to our nation. We have not come to get rich. We have come to add value for whoever. Let they go to Chankwazi and come back. When they come back, we're going to tell them, now, my brother,
you've made your point.
529 votes. And actually, finally, I want to tell you that we are all fishing from the 529. All of us, we are 529. Nobody can say that here because I was in Chankwazi, I will vote so and so. We are all fishing from the 529 to vote us.
Okay, all right. We are watching. We are watching what will happen. Whether really you live up to your promise. Now, let me come to Priska, because our time is fast spent.
She will tell you I'll box someone in Parliament there, out of the door.
But the rules of procedure will apply on you, Honorable. Anyway, let me.
We shall not go with people that are going to throw this country to the dogs.
Let me come to Priska. Priska, as we wrap up, what kind of speaker does the 11th Parliament need, in your opinion?
First of all, I want to clarify on what Richard said, the 15% that he said the president has to spend without the approval. The figure is actually 3%. He can spend 3%. it. 3%. The 15 is very high. Do you know what it means? 15% of our budget.
It's 3% according to the Public Finance Management Act. Yeah.
But do you know what 3% is? They had suggested 15%. Then the 2016, was it 2015? What?
15.
2015.
They had suggested 50.
Yeah.
Yes, they had suggested 15%. Then they cut to 3. But do you know what 3% is? 3% of 45 trillion. This man is rich.
We will have another debate on that matter. But now let's my question to you, we voters, we voted in a new parliament. We are optimistic, and but we know that the outlook of a parliament and its ability to perform also has much to do with the nature of speaker it has, in terms of being independent, non-partisan, objective, because we are in a multi-party dispensation. Now, back to you. What kind of speaker should the 11th parliament have? You know the 11th parliament that we have, full of young people, new people. Many have been many young tax, old tax have been phased out. What kind of speaker should they have?
The kind of speaker we should have is one that is independent and one that is transparent. Because I can tell you, as a journalist that is covering Parliament, for the 5 years I've been there, at no time have we been allowed to cover the budget estimates when Parliament Commission is appearing before the legal committee. We are closed. It is the only institution.
And the appointments committee.
It's the only institution whose budget we don't have to look at. I have a scenario of one of the journalists told me he had to start a relationship with a legal committee legal committee clerk for him to get access to it, to the budget estimates of Parliament. Like he confessed it. So that is why how deeply rooted the issue of transparency is. So as much as Parliament might come and squeeze these other agencies and over their expenditure, but if you yourself, you're not leading by example, then there is a problem with that. So the independence, where you're not going to have the interference of of the executive. It's something, because currently right now we all agree that the public has lost respect for the legislature. Yes. Even if they are trying to handle something genuine, sometimes you know that, and the MPs are handling something, this thing is really genuine. But back to the public, we tend to think they are just simply playing to the gallery. And this speaks to how deeply broken the institutions in Uganda are. Power is centered around one individual. As long as that individual is still in power, all the things we are proposing, the transparency, the independence, it's just a fairy tale. We are hoping that the speaker is going to be independent. But when you compare the two who are up in arms with each other, at least when you look at Kadaga, at least she sometimes listens to the public and to the opposition.
And then do the contrary, and ends up in the contrary.
When you're trying to compare the two devils, at least she tries. Compared to, you remember Olanya in 2018 called compared the president to Jesus. So at the moment you compare someone to Jesus and you think they are not capable of doing anything wrong,
independently.
That is when you realize that you are in a cult. Because if you don't see anything bad about anyone, even me personally, I know I can read the Bible and say, this is somewhere God did not messed up. I think he should have done this. So I'm not in a cult, because I know I can even critique God and say, here you went wrong. You see that? Something that Jacob cannot give us. So yes, we can discuss about the issue of the kind of speaker we want, the independence, the transparency, the accessibility to that speaker. But we know plot one is the reason as to why we are even here in the first place. So as long as the occupant in plot one is still centering all the power around him, we shall continue having this debate in Uganda.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Our time is fast spent. We are 2 minutes off the top of the hour, so I'm going to allow Honorable Richard MP-elect to give me your closing remarks in 1 minute strictly.
1 minute strictly. I'll say, one, it's an honor to have been part of this. Two, towards this parliament, no, we are not going to accept. That's why I told you you're going to see blows in that parliament. Three, I want to tell you, and I want to assure you, that in the presence of possible odds, people that love their country can change it. We love this country, and the odds are here. We have the right to change this country. The speaker we need is just a speaker that understands Uganda, knows Ugandan rules, and loves Uganda. That's all.
Okay, I think I'm losing you there, but okay, all right. Thank you so much. And Priska, your departing remarks?
I'm first of all grateful to have taken part in this talk show, but the whole I'm happy that finally Ugandans are taking interest in the speakership race, because initially they were laid back. They didn't bother about what was being reported, and I think us as journalists and as UPP and as UPPA, we know that. But at least at the back of our mind, we know that what we are doing is finally paying off. And I'm encouraging Ugandans to take keen interest in the whole issue about the speakership race, because the person you're going to vote into office is going to have a huge impact on the policies that are coming up in the next 5 years. Some of the policies we may be able to do away with them later on through amendments or what. Some of them we might not be able, and while the others, by the time we do away with it, they would have created much harm or havoc to the country. So please, no, don't say it's too much politicking. The people you vote into office or the representatives you send to parliament, call them, text them, everything. They have, parliament has a website with all details of the contacts of MPs. Put them on pressure. If you think Richard is the best candidate, please put your MPs on pressure and tell them this one is not a candidate. Because the person you're going to vote in number 3 is going to have a huge impact, whether you're in business, whether in civil society, they are going to have an impact on you. It might not be directly, you may not have to face it directly, but it will have an impact, either today or the next generation.
Thank you so much, Priska. Fair enough. Okay, thank you so much. Allow me to bring this discussion to close. Until next week, I've been with Priska Wanyea, who is a journalist working with Red Paper and also Business Focus, and she's also a member of Uganda Parliamentary Press Association. And I've also been with the MP-elect, Honorable Sebamala Richard, and Sebamala. Yes, sorry, Richard. Sebamala Richard. Yes, sorry. She's is the MP-elect for Bukoto Central Constituency. You're actually my MP, if I may add. So it's been an honor. It's really been an honor to have you on this discussion. Till next week, I wish you a very good weekend and a blessed week ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
COVID-19 lockdown has left us poor. Money from candidates won't make you rich. Do not be desperate. Focus on issues, not money. Often money used in campaigns is dirty money. Do you know its source? Corruption, mafia, drug trafficking, human trafficking, theft from national budget, self-seeking foreigners, selfish businessmen, selfish money lenders. Don't abandon your duty. Elect quality leadership, not big spenders.